formerly incarcerated individuals, therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities, HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave the building.
It's a total takeover.
That's what I want.
On Friday, March 27th, KBLA Talk 1580 belongs to the women.
Are you ready?
All day long, from 6 in the morning to midnight, the mic belongs to powerful, accomplished women, and we are not letting go. Nothing but the voices of women who inspire, challenge, and move us forward. It's the women of KBLA Talk 1580, sun up to sundown. I'm Dominique DePrima, and I'll anchor the day with a 3-hour live panel from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the state of Black women in LA, followed by women talking to women all day long about the issues that matter most. Our hosts for the day include Jill Monroe, Adrian Shropshire, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Angela Reddick Wright, Raquel Graham, Angelique Francis, Tasha Thomas, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, Dion Raymond, and featuring special guest hosts Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals. This is Women's History Month, and we're not just celebrating it, we're amplifying it. Join us Friday, March 27th on KBLA Talk 1580, where women take over all day, all night. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 and all of our socials for the rundown. You don't want to miss a single word. And happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
To my ladies,
You should know how to work that.
You are the bomb.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
All righty. Well, this is exciting. This man's been working on reparations since before you could spell it. He is a political scientist, professor at Emeritus from Cal State Northridge and Southwest College. He was a professor of critical thinking and African history, former chair of the Pan-African Studies Department at Cal State Northridge. And he is the founder of the Reparations United Front. Dr. David Horn, welcome.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning to your great listeners.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Okay, when did you start working on reparations, Dr. Horn? Can you give me a year, approximately? When did it come to your attention? Because I know it's not just been a sidebar for you. This has been a life mission.
1993.
1990.
1973.
Oh, that's a big difference, Dr.
Yeah.
Horn. 1973, give or take 20 years. 1973.
I was at the University of Miami trying to go to law school because I had been determined that black folk needed more lawyers. We needed more attorneys. We needed more people who could understand that the law was supposed to be equal and that our best shot at moving forward was getting more movement-oriented lawyers.
Okay. Movement lawyers to litigate movement issues. And how does that lead to reparations for you?
Because after satisfying myself that I could make it, I could do law, that first year is always very questionable. Anyway, after I found out I could do it, an issue came up in Florida that killed my thirst for law. It made me understand that I would flame out because people were simply too racist. There was a Ocala, Florida school district that had summarily dismissed all of the graduating black students in that year because there had been a racial riot in the at the school, and even though a number of the white students brought brickbats and other equipment for the racial riot, only the black students were suspended, and the superintendent decided, well, since we got them suspended, we might as well flunk them all out of school. So every black student who had caused any difficulty that year was simply suspended from school and stopped from graduating. The school superintendent said that the black students had to write an apology to the city of Ocala. Otherwise, they could not graduate that year. That meant all scholarships, all anything. They were all gone. As a intern working with a law practice out of Gainesville, Florida, I was supposed to be sitting up in the room being quiet. And when the school superintendent said that I could not be quiet, I got agitated and wanted to get involved in the discussion, and the lawyers had to send me outside. After that session, I decided I couldn't go into law. It would be a waste of my time. I needed to get into a position where I could make some change and they couldn't fire me.
Right.
I could say what I wanted to say. I could write what I wanted to write.
And reparations provided that platform.
Right.
But 1973, reparations is not a mainstream issue. I mean,
No.
I know that reparations goes back to Callie House, back to the 1800s.
Right.
It's not new in the 2000s, but I do remember talking about it with Dr. Dick Gregory
Right.
on the air in the 90s,
Right.
and we were considered a little loco to be talking about it back then. So I can only imagine how folks were looking at you in 1973.
Oh, they thought I was crazy. Everything with Black Panthers and that kind of agitation, and I got involved in that and then got involved. We had to make waves. We had to do something to identify we were not satisfied with our position in society. Like Frederick Douglass said, there must be struggle. Without struggle, there's no progress.
Right. Well, I want to get your thoughts on some of the things that are happening now and ask you to put on your political science hat about where some of these initiatives are going and get your thoughts about where we are with reparations. Real quick, though, I want to go back to Fahima, who was on the phone with us because she was about to land. She was talking about reparations and how she believes Steve Bannon has weaponized the issue, among other things.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. California and 23 other states are suing the EPA for rolling back a key finding that greenhouse gases endanger public health. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
This isn't a small technical change. It's a sweeping decision that would increase pollution, worsen climate change, and put the health of millions of Americans at risk.
He says the move ignores scientific consensus and could weaken limits on emissions from cars and power plants. The Pentagon may keep National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. through 2029. ABC News reports the plan is finalized and awaiting approval from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. D.C. leaders are suing to end the deployment. A New Edition is now leading the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame fan vote, bumping Phil Collins from the top spot. The Hall will announce this year's class of inductees in April. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Hard Rock Casino Tejon for the $500,000 Luck of the Irish BMW drawing. Drawings every Thursday in March. Hard Rock Casino Tejon, the closest casino to downtown LA. The excitement starts here at the new Hard Rock Casino Tejon.
Is this the title?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers win again, and Luka Doncic goes off again. Thursday night in Miami, the Lakers won their season-high 8th straight game. They beat Miami 134-126. 60 points for Doncic. He also had 5 steals. In the Lakers' last 2 games, Doncic has scored 100 points. LeBron had a triple-double with 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. In LeBron's last 2 games, he is shooting 80.7% from the floor. The Lakers are 11-1 in their last 12. Things are not going well for the Clippers. They lost to New Orleans Thursday night, 105-99, 4 straight loss for the Clippers. Congratulations to the Southern University women's basketball team. The HBCU team beat Sanford Thursday 65-53 in the play-in round of the NCAA tournament. Southern advances to the field of 64. Their first round game is Saturday against number 1 seed South Carolina. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So, who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So, what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utility's failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits, and your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580. Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. So I was saying all that, asking you that, Dr. David Horn, because I just wanted to give people the context of how long you've been working on this issue, how important it is to you. You're not a reparationist come lately. And also now asking you to put on your political science reparationist hat to look at some of these developments. Fahima was talking about the weaponization of reparations and how she thinks Bannon and those folks have made it into an issue that scares their base, the MAGA base. And I was saying to you off the mic that the UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, the withdrawal from that by the Trump administration and his saying that reparations is racist, is part of that weaponization. And I wonder how you respond to both of those points.
There has always been within the movement an attempt by crazy white people to promote the idea that black people just want revenge and that you have to kill any effort toward reparations or payback because all they're doing is trying to settle the score. It worked in the 1930s, 1940s, and as you mentioned to me earlier, Elon Musk is trying to bring that same kind of energy here in the United States based on his background in South Africa.
Right, but he hasn't been in South Africa his whole life. He has these fairy tales in his head based on whatever his dad told him. He was raised in Canada and the United States.
No, he was actually raised in South Africa.
I mean, since college he's been here.
Yeah.
His whole adult life has been
His
here.
adult life, you're right, he's been out.
And he's experienced nothing but the privilege of apartheid. No.
Yes and no. Even though his family was not part of the Vorabon, the white domination of South Africa in terms of that particular political orientation, he went to school with people like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get bogged down in talking about him. I don't think he knows much about South Africa today, was my point.
No, he does not.
And he says that he just tweeted that there's more laws against white people now in South Africa than there were against black people under apartheid.
And he definitely does not know his own history. That's not true at all.
Yeah. So what do you make of the Trump administration pulling out of these UN bodies?
They won't last. As soon as Trump is gone, that will be repaired. We have, I don't want to put your radio station in trouble. So
we're already in trouble.
Well, we have a criminal in charge of a criminal enterprise. He only thinks of what benefits him personally. We're not talking about somebody looking at what is beneficial for the country or for the rest of us. So a lot of damage that he's going to do now is temporary damage, and it will be repaired. So coming out of UN bodies is not going to last long. He doesn't see any benefit for him personally, so basically That's
So
why
you don't see that as a blow for reparations?
No, I don't. I see it as a temporary setback. There have been temporary setbacks for the last 75, 80 years.
San Francisco has passed a reparations funding initiative. It doesn't have any money in it, but it's a reparations motion that was put in front of the Board of Supervisors. They gave final approval. It creates a fund, but it's an unfunded fund, but the mechanism is there. And their own commission suggested up to $5 million for each qualifying black adult. Now, there's only 5% of the city at this point that's black, but it's still unfunded.
It's unfunded, but it is a major advance forward. Whether it will stay in place once, times have changed, once we've gotten a little better situation in California and in the country, whether it will stay past, we don't know yet, but it is a major step forward. It is a lot more than most reparationists in California and other places ever thought would happen.
Yeah, I think that's right. I never thought I'd see all of this in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's like the decision to pay the black folks in Palm Springs, to pay them.
Right, Attorney Ariva Martin's case. Yeah.
Exactly, and one of the things that was so odd about that was the African Americans did not own the property that they were removed from in Palm Springs. They had their personal.
They were renters, yeah.
Well, all of that land was owned by the Native Americans.
Right.
And
who allowed the black folks and Latinos to be there because they couldn't get rentals elsewhere in Palm Springs.
That's right. That's right. And the white government had allowed them to be there because they needed the labor.
Right.
But yeah, it was a situation that we did not think would work because property was not owned. But it did work, and they did get paid. And the decision in San Francisco is the second time that there's been an advance forward. But again, reparations is not just about money. It never has been. This is about respect. This is about understanding our journey, understanding what we've contributed, understanding our value to this country.
But money and land resources are important, are they not?
Yes, they are. The problem is we keep getting fooled.
How do we get fooled?
The 40 acres and a mule issue, for example. We thought they were actually giving us what we deserved, giving us land. And according to the Constitution, you cannot take land from citizens. And the Confederates were still citizens. They didn't give up that part of their
lives. So we should have just excommunicated them from citizenship, then it would have been all good.
Which is what Thaddeus Stevens tried to do. He wrote a bill to do that, but they didn't pass it. They had to be, again, part of the whole reparations movement has been law and how it can be properly applied to benefit folk as opposed to taking it away from them.
I mean, it's an interesting conversation considering they're relooking at citizenship under the 14th Amendment right now, the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but that's not going to change. They're not going.
I don't think they will either. But I hope we're right because we were wrong about Trump. We didn't think he'd make it through his first term.
Well, yeah, we didn't. And we are talking physically. We didn't think he'd make it through. For this particular term, all of you black folk out there, vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure everybody you're in contact with who is an adult, make sure they vote.
Well, I was talking to you about the San Francisco, reparations funding mechanism, and off Mike, we were talking about California State, what has happened so far under Newsom. And even Los Angeles has a reparations commission. They've put forth a great report, and we're waiting for the city council and the mayor to take action. But you didn't seem to feel confident that anything was going to happen right away in the near future.
No, and I have not change my point of view about that. I will say this: California is leading the country in coming up with positive movement forward for the whole reparations idea. And strange that that's in California, when California came into the Union as a non-slave state.
Right, but as that report lays out so beautifully, there was a lot of slaves here.
Not a lot, but...
Well, I mean, enough for the majority of the people mining the gold to be enslaved persons that were brought in by people who didn't want to do that work themselves.
But Mississippi would have been a lot more logical place for the reparations movement than California. But California is showing the country how to get it done. And Baltimore, Maryland is now joining forces with California in terms of moving the whole reparations issue forward.
And to the point of overriding a gubernatorial veto, which was pretty...
Right.
Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I was, because
I was too.
I agreed with the governor that now was not the time to talk about setting up a reparations commission. We had more important things to do, but like him, you have to shrug and do what your constituency tells you to do.
You agreed with the governor vetoing it.
Yes, I
did.
But
now you're riding with the folks that overrode the veto?
You have to.
You have to. But does that mean you don't support H.R. 40 anymore, that the time for studies has passed?
No, it does not mean I don't support H.R. 40. It does mean that I am convinced that we need to go back into the rooms and reevaluate where we are, where we're trying to go. We need some think tanks to lay out a plan forward. We are still trying to base our process on old thinking. We have to come up with a better idea of how to go from point A to point B to point C. It's great what they did in Maryland. It's great what we've done in California, but that's simply not going to be enough.
So your view is that it's going to be a long time before we get to real reparations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I remember Mr. Gregory said 50 years. I think that was about 20 years ago. We had that last conversation.
Yeah.
So that would be another 30. Do you agree with that? Are we talking hundreds of years? Are we talking, what do you mean when you say the long view? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about we need to get more black folk in positions of authority. We need to get
with all due respect, I'm going to push back on that. I mean, Friday Jones is in the chat saying that the L.A., he said, I'm going to quote her exactly, his point of view on the city of L.A. is accurate. The mayor has made that clear, meaning that she doesn't plan to move forward with reparations. And we've seen that in San Francisco. It was London Breed, the black mayor, who got rid of the Reparations Commission, and now they have a white mayor who's brought it back. And I believe it's less maybe politically perilous for them, or they think it is, but I don't know. Will black faces in high places bring reparations?
We need a plan, a better plan for black faces in high places. That's what I'm advocating. We need to come back from the battle lines, go back and to the planning situations. We need a better plan. And whenever we are talking about getting the majority of this country to pay money or to make a decision about gifting resources to us.
To black people.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem to be a problem when it's to corporations.
Oh, no.
To, Japanese people, Jewish people, farmers, anybody except...
Anybody but us.
But us, yeah. And that's racism.
Yeah, and it's also a refusal to accept the fact that they did some people wrong, and they need to pay for that.
Yeah, I mean, and Friday also points out Obama was not pro-reparations in his engagement with the UN. But again, I think that's a lot to ask the first black president, and I have said consistently that should be Biden, that should be Trump, that should be, someone who's not just trying to president while black.
Exactly.
Andre Parvenu asks, who do you think is the reparations candidate for governor of California?
I don't think there is one. Tom Steyer may end up winning the whole thing because he's trying to be a tough guy and talking about...
And he has deep pockets.
Yeah, and he's talking about the same thing that Mom Donnie talked about in New York, housing. And
I don't think he has enough name recognition.
No, he doesn't, but I don't think name recognition is going to be what this particular vote is going to be about.
You may be right. Katie Porter is running in the front of the pack, and Adam Kinzinger is his name?
I am an admirer of Katie Porter, but I don't think she's going to win either.
Eric Swalwell, that's the new guy that jumped in. He's definitely not a reparationist. He's a pro on 36 Democrat.
Right.
So a very conservative Democrat.
Right. And after our current governor, who has been exciting to say the least, we may be going back more conservative. I mean, we often have political swings like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we do, but I also think that Swalwell is posing as the next Newsom,
and
brash-spoken,
right.
White guy, good-looking white guy. But no, he's not. Why do you say that, though?
He has not demonstrated that he is concerned with what he would consider to be a fringe issue like reparations. He's much more into... Let's get back to law and order. Let's get back to more conservative principles. He has not demonstrated in any of his political career that he is willing to take that kind of step forward, that kind of risk.
Yeah, I mean, he was among the Democrats that voted to thank ICE for their service recently.
Yeah, he's a conservative Democrat.
For sure. Well, we got a lot to talk about. Reparations is our topic every Friday. Dr. David Horn, one of the reparationists I know who's been at it the longest, is with us, and we'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward. More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Oh my God! Injured in an accident? Insurance not paying what you deserve? The Law Office of Hamlin will get you paid. Call 424-266-9175. That's 424-266-9175. The Law Office of Hamlin, your legal vibe for the culture.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Okay, Dr. David Horn is here. I kind of feel like I should, we only have 5 minutes left. I kind of feel like I should let you say whatever you want to say and not even ask you any questions. Because I know you could lecture on reparations for probably 6 hours straight.
Right. I don't think reparations is our major lantern in the nighttime, though. I don't think that is all that we need to be dealing with. Right now, there is an existential threat to the existence of the political life of this country. And however this goes, the black population is not ready. You know, we can be victimized by it, but right now we don't have any plan forward. For example, all of us need to have the availability of dual citizenship someplace. We do not need to be left hanging. If these people in charge now blow up everything, and they are close to doing that.
They are.
There are dual citizenships available in Ghana and in several African countries. I think we need to avail ourselves of that information. I think we need to, again, think about getting into areas where we can plan our next steps forward and not just emotionally respond. We don't have the luxury of just, well, let's just throw it in the air and see what happens. I don't think we're there now. I think we have to literally plan our way out, as black folk had to do out of slavery. We had to plan our way out, not just wait and hope and pray. All of them will work sometime, but no, we have to plan now, not just pray, plan.
Dual citizenship, you're talking about exit strategies.
Yes, we are.
Should we need to get out of Dodge?
If we have to. We want to make sure that we survive. Survival is much more important than just getting in somebody's face and showing them that you're the man or you're the woman.
But yet we want to be courageous in this moment, right?
Yes. Courageous and wise. We have been through enough. So we know not to go this way because the swamp is that way. We know not to go that way because a cliff is that way. We need to take what we have learned, put it into a forward-thinking plan forward. Again, let me use Harriet Tubman as an example. Somebody was talking about, but she was just a black woman who did some good things. No, she was more than that. We are planning on escaping. We are planning on getting to another location. That's the plan. Planning on leaving, planning on getting. This is not just everybody run away. Everybody just throw your hands up and let's see what happens. Planning is going to be our salvation, but we got to do it and not spend as much time as we have been spending calling each other a bunch of names and saying I'm in charge and you shut up. We've been spending our time doing too many silly things when planning is what we need. For example, and I'll stop on this, when Martin Luther King and the black population in Montgomery, Alabama was faced with this strong decision, we are riding conveniences every day that we putting our money into, but we are being disrespected. This is not just everybody run away. Everybody just throw your hands up and let's see what happens. Planning is going to be our salvation, but we got to do it and not spend as much time as we have been spending calling each other a bunch of names and saying I'm in charge and you shut up. We've been spending our time doing too many silly things when planning is what we need. For example, and I'll stop on this, when Martin Luther King and the black population in Montgomery, Alabama was faced with this strong decision, we are riding conveniences every day that we putting our money into, but we are being disrespected. We're having our black women drug away from seats. We're having people basically being called all kind of names. They're paying the money, but being called names. Now, we can keep doing that because it's convenient to be riding as opposed to walking. Or we can decide that respect is more important than just getting a ride, and they took some time, planned out how we are going to attack the bus company, and it worked. Yeah. They brought the bus company to its knees. An economic boycott in this country based on what we bring to the country in every state would get us exactly what we needed. But to plan it, and to get black folk to go along with the plan, that's what we're talking about.
Wish we had more time. Dr. David Horn, thank you so much for coming in. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. California and 23 other states are suing the EPA for rolling back a key finding that greenhouse gases endanger public health. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
This isn't a small technical change. It's a sweeping decision that would increase pollution, worsen climate change, and put the health of millions of Americans at risk.
He says the move ignores scientific consensus and could weaken limits on emissions from cars and power plants. The Pentagon may keep National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. through 2029. ABC News reports the plan is finalized and awaiting approval from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. D.C. leaders are suing to end the deployment. A new addition is now leading the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, fan vote bumping Phil Collins from the top spot. The Hall will announce this year's class of inductees in April. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Hard Rock Casino Tejon for the $500,000 Luck of the Irish BMW drawing. Drawings every Thursday in March. Hard Rock Casino Tejon, the closest casino to downtown LA. The excitement starts here at the new Hard Rock Casino Tejon.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with